What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This I'm going to bring you my long-term review of this is the Sennheiser, these are the HD 600s, and I've had these I bought these around October 2021, so I've had them for a while now. Kind of want to get a review up. These are extremely old headphones. I think they're like 10 years old, but they still hold up really well, and I kind of want to get an idea of who these may be for, may not be for, just so people have an idea of kind of what's going on here. So I originally bought these through a work discount, so I paid around $279. They tend to go on sale, but they're generally like $300 headphones. These are more neutral, professional grade, more kind of reference playback. They're a little warm, so they don't have a ton of bass like some of the Beats, and I think the Max Pro, Apple's Max Pro headphones. I don't know what they're called because I'm not really interested in wireless headphones. But I'll kind of go through the build, the construction, the fit, the quality of that, and then go through the audio and why I chose these over some of the other options that are out there. So the build on this is really good. It's a lot of plastic with a little bit of metal, but it is a very light feeling headphone with a mostly plastic design, which is good and bad in that I feel like they're pretty sturdy, but they're not as probably sturdy as I was looking at the Beyerdynamics, the 1990 Pros, which are way above these. They're like $500 headphones, $600. But the quality seems really good, and the plastic is, while it may not scream that premium quality, it does have a few benefits to it, in that it is very light, so they're very comfortable when you're wearing them on your head. They have a very nice feel to them. They are a little tight at first when you get them, but the overall build quality has been really good. And the reason why I went with these over some cheaper options like the Beyerdynamic, the 980s, the 770s, there's a whole lot of different options. There's some other Sennheiser options, but I really was looking at the Beyerdynamic, more $150 headphones, is that they have detachable cables. So these cables actually detach. So I am very clumsy. We have two toddlers, well, a toddler and an infant who will be a toddler probably before we know it. They can be a little bit rough on things, so I wanted something that detached. And because I have ripped a pair of these out of a headphones before, some old Beyerdynamic, I think 770s. They were really cheap headphones when I originally bought them, but I like that they have that design where they actually detach on them. And I wanted something that was a more neutral sound. I don't really like a whole lot of bass in my headphones, so when it comes to the actual sound quality of these, I think they are really more neutral based with a little bit warmer feeling. So if you're wanting something that has a lot of bass, a lot of kick, these are not going to be it. There's a lot better options out there than that. Like Audio Technica has, I think, $129 pair of headphones that are going to have a little more kick than these. But I don't really like a lot of bass heavy when it comes to my overall listening. I just find that it's a really kind of drowns out like the midtones and just the overall vocals of people out there. But when it comes to the quality of the fit, they fit a little bit tight at the beginning, but they do tend to kind of adjust based on your head. So I've had these for a long time now, and they've really kind of adjusted to fit really nice on my head. There's tons of actual play here for the adjustments of them. They feel really nice. They don't get too warm when you're wearing them. My Beyerdynamics had more of these are more felt padding when it comes to the ears there. So they're a little bit more felt, which has a few positives and one negative, but the few positives is that they're very comfortable, they're breathable, they don't get too warm. The few negatives is that they do get a decent amount of hair on them, or just general lint. If you can see that there, there's a little bit of just overall all lint there. So that may be I know you can swap these out. You can swap these earpieces out here. I have no idea how, but I have looked that you actually can. And so I really like that when it comes to the terms of the fit and feel. They don't get too warm, especially wearing them. I tend to like to watch movies down here from time to time, so it's nice to be able to wear these, get good audio. I don't have any other speakers down here besides the one on the monitor, so sometimes these are worn for extended periods of time, so it's kind of nice. So that's really overall it for that, for the kind of the build. The build's excellent, besides they're not all metal. If you're wanting a more luxurious feel, I would get a different brand altogether. Probably the Apple wireless, whatever their Max Pro headphones are. Those are pretty good. They go on sale with pretty deep discounts pretty often, what I've seen from time to time. So that's kind of nice. Let's see who these may not be for. If you're wanting really bass heavy headphones, these are not it. If you're not going to use an amp and DAC, or at least an amp, I don't think these are for you. These really benefit if you throw them on. I have the Schiit Modi 3 and the Modi, whatever the three pluses are. Are they on here? The Magni 3 Plus and the Modi. Which is basically $100, $200 for both of them, $100 for them a piece. They're pretty cheap amp and DACs, and they power this excellent, and they really give it that neutral kind of baseline tone to it, to the volume and the audio of if you're watching movies or editing videos or listening to music. It has a very neutral sounding, warm feeling to it. It's more comforting, more easy to listen to than, from what I've read, like the Beyerdynamic 1990 Pros that I was looking at can be a little bit sharp in their treble and can be a little taxing on your ears. So that's kind of why I went with and these were cheaper. I don't even know if I paid $279. I now want to think that I paid like $250 for them. My work discount on these varies from time to time depending on what they go on sale for. But I really like the things detach and the overall sound of them. So I've been really happy with them. They've held up really well. They almost never leave this little cheap $10 headphone stand I bought for them. They generally hang out down here. I have used them without the amp before, and they just don't sound very good. So if you don't have an amp, I would not get these. At least just plugging them straight into the, I have a 16-inch MacBook Pro, and plugging it straight into there, they just didn't sound very good. So to wrap up, positives: very good build quality, very light, so they don't feel too heavy on your head or taxing. They don't get too warm. They're breathable. I really like the padding and the foam on these. They're really soft. I like that they're velvet, not leather. My previous ones were kind of like a fake leather material, and they felt a little warm after wearing them for a little bit of time. They're very warm, neutral based. They're not too bass heavy. They have detachable cables. That's a big plus for me. At least in my eyes, that's a big plus for me. They go on sale pretty frequently, so you can get them around $250 just because they're a little bit older headphones. And from what I've read, Sennheiser has really good customer support. If you have any issues, there's tons of aftermarket parts for these. So if you need new ear pads or you need new cables, there's all kinds of different options there. It doesn't take much to drive them, so any amp or DAC, for example, my $100 ones over here, are actually probably overkill for this. They're very easy to drive. They're not very heavy like some of the other headphones out there that get to the $300 to $500 price point. Few negatives. While the build quality is really good, I could see how some people would not like the design of them. The padding up here is a little soft. It's very comfortable to me. I don't have any issues, but it is a little bit lacking compared to some of the other headphones on the market in this price point. You need an amp and DAC to really get the full potential out of them. So if you don't have an extra, I'd say at least $200 for an amp and DAC, I probably wouldn't recommend these unless maybe you're going to get them down in the future and you can kind of deal with the suboptimal audio at the start. And that's really it. That's really honestly it, is that they're a little expensive considering how old they are, but these are tried and true. These have been around forever. They have really good quality. Headphones or something, the ones, at least the kind of the open back ones, if you get good ones, these will last forever. You will not have to worry about ever replacing these. I haven't found they had any break-in period either, so they seem, besides they do fit a little tight at the beginning, so when I first got them, they were a little tight, but it only took about a month before they started kind of fitting a little bit more to the quality of my actual ears and not being too snug and tight. But that's the only negatives that I could find. If people don't like the design of them, or you don't have the money for an amp and DAC, or you don't have $300 to spend, or $250, that can be a deal breaker for some people out there. That's really it. They're not bass heavy. That may be a deal breaker. If you want a bass heavy headphone, this is not it. Definitely do not get this. There's not a whole lot of bass or kick at all in these, but they're very warm. They're very pleasant. That's it. That's my review. I'm not a professional headphone reviewer. I think I had Beyerdynamics 770s. They may have been 980s. Honestly, I do not remember. They were like $125 headphones, whatever the 250 ohm ones are, and I did not even have an amp and DAC to drive them, so I'm not probably a pro at reviewing these, but I think these would be the base go-to headphones for anyone out there who just wants a neutral, warm-feeling headphone that you don't want to spend a ton of money on. If you get through the drop and you get the drop version of these, or even cheaper if you can get them in stock. So that's it. Comments, questions, leave them below. I've had these for a long time. They've been excellent. I am sad that I don't get to use them as much because we have a toddler and an infant, so I don't get to spend much time down here on them, but that's it. Comments and questions, leave them below. And sorry there's no B-roll on these headphones. I was in a time crunch, so I will see you guys next time.